Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. The yearly SEC meeting set to take place next week. Everybody's been kind of talking about Nick Saban and Jimbo Fisher and all the drama, the accusations about NIL, paying players, not paying players. All eyes were going to be on Nick Saban and Jimbo Fisher, but I'm sure they'll show up, they'll smile and wave and shake hands, and everything will be fine because everybody is fake to their face, and then they will get back to running their mouths as usual. But the big thing in the media over the last couple of days is not the drama between Nick Saban and Jimbo Fisher. It is about a separate SEC playoff, a power move that is going to, in my opinion, completely destroy what we know as college football. It's kind of been a phasing out process over the last several years anyway. If the SEC decides to go this route, it is the death of college football as we know it. We'll get into it, take a look at it. A lot of you guys asked my opinion on this, asked me to make a video, so we'll talk about it. But as always, do me a favor, go ahead and smash that like button just below the video. It's quick, it's free, it's easy. It helps the channel. If you're new to the Talkin VAWLS Network, welcome. We're not experts, we're not insiders, we are fans just like you. So make sure you subscribe. Click that bell for notifications. You won't miss out when we go live or when we drop a video. Let's take a look at this article from Saturday Down South, a separate SEC playoff. I'm skeptical about what that could yield. This is Connor O'Gara writing the article. Says on Monday afternoon, Greg Sankey continued the mission that he's been on for the past 4.5 months. That is to tell the world that the SEC is content to take its ball and go home. ESPN's Pete Thamel reported that the SEC will discuss the idea of creating its own college football playoff when it meets in Destin next week. It says that came on the heels of multiple instances in which Sankey outlined that the SEC they are not going to give in to the playoff expansion at all costs. That was in response to the Alliance, aka the Pac-12, ACC, and Big Ten, voting against playoff expansion last January when proposed the 12-team model had initial support from the Power 5 conferences, including the SEC. Here's the quote from Sankey. He says, "We can stay at 4. This conference will thrive at 4, period." That's what he said earlier in the month. That's not healthy for the rest of college football, but we can stay at 4. This is all about power. This is all about money. If there's ever a question why these big-time conferences do what they do, it's all about the money. Follow the money, and you will get your answer. If the SEC goes this route, if they form their own playoff and exclude everybody else, college football as we know it is dead. It's dead and over. And you know, I kind of talked about this back when the news first broke about Oklahoma and Texas joining the SEC and expanding and the talk of going to a pod-based system. What has happened to college football? The SEC is just going to come one gigantic power conference and nothing else matters. And I get it. I love the SEC. I grew up watching SEC football. I love old school SEC rivalries. But when you start adding teams like Texas and Oklahoma, and who's next? Ohio State? Is Ohio State next? Are we going to add Southern Cal? Is Southern Cal going to all of a sudden be in the Southeastern Conference because of money and because of power and because of greed? At what point is enough enough? But if you continue to expand and going down the road to a separate SEC playoff, I don't think it's going to happen. First of all, I will say that. I don't see this happening. But if they do go that route, college football is dead. The SEC becomes the NFL light, and then at what point does education go out the window? At what point, you've got kids making $8 million, at what point do you just throw an education out the window and it's all about the money and it's all about football? Sankey said in January that he felt the other Power 5 commissioners didn't take him seriously when he said that they could stay at 4. After all, he's the conference commissioner who watched his teams win the past 3 national titles and 5 of the 8 in this current 4-team playoff. That's leverage in itself. But now, as Thamel reported, Sankey has more leverage by floating this notion of an intra-SEC playoff once the current 4-team playoff contract runs out after the 2025 season. Goes on to say Oklahoma and Texas set to join the SEC for that 2025 season. Would it be ratings bonanza? No doubt. You could tell SEC fans that their programs were playing rock, paper, scissors, and they treat it like Game 7 of the World Series. Yes, SEC fans are going to be there. We're going to watch it. I'll be there. I'll be there watching an SEC only playoff, but it will be the death. It will destroy every other college that is not in the SEC. The article goes on to say that's not the issue. It's just about eyeballs or what the TV contract would be. To use Sankey's words, would it be healthy for the rest of college football to have the SEC playing in a separate playoff? This is where the writer of the article agrees. No chance. And to be clear, I'm referring to a system in which there would be an SEC champion and a non-SEC champion that would not meet. And that's it. You know, when you go back up and you look where they're talking about previous, you know, the SEC winning winning the last 3 national championships and 5 of the last 8. What about those 3 that weren't in the SEC? What about those 3 that won the national championships? What about the Ohio States or the Clemsons that have an opportunity to compete? And yeah, we can talk about the difficulty of schedule. We can talk about, you know, how much harder it is to go through the grind of the SEC compared to the ACC. The SEC is the most powerful conference in the country. There's no doubt about it. Going through week in, week out, getting through that SEC championship, getting into the playoff, it is the toughest conference in America. But it comes down to one game. It comes down to 2 games, the 4-playoff system. It comes down to a national championship game that you settle it on the field. So what if we have an SEC champion and a non-SEC champion that would not meet? That is not good. That is not healthy for college football. It says if those parties meet, there's really no difference in the current system. Talking about if they do go the SEC champion route versus a non-SEC champion. So the SEC champion made it to the national championship in the past 7 years. Shoot, if we want to take it back even further, the SEC champ made it to the national championship 15 out of the last 16 years. That is domination. Why not continue to show that domination in a regular college football playoff? We don't need an SEC-only championship. Says in a separate playoff system, we're essentially regressing to a pre-BCS world in which we'd crown multiple national championship winners. I feel like I'm at work. And we're taking a step backwards. Says instead of getting more clarity about the real champion, we get more debate about whether or not the non-SEC champ could have beaten the SEC champ. Sport hasn't split a national championship since 2003, but at least that had a true national championship game between LSU and Oklahoma. This system would create that 1997 scenario all over again. The fans didn't benefit from having Michigan and Nebraska not playing for a national title. Felt like we were deprived something just because we didn't have the right system in place. And now they do. You know, you can argue with me about expansion. You can talk about 6 teams or 8 teams. You know, I personally think 6. Give your top 2 teams a bye. Let the other 4 play in. I think that's the perfect number for me. But if you want 8, I'm good with 8. I'm not against expansion, but the current system is the way to go. We don't need to take a step backwards and open up debate because Greg Sankey and the SEC wants more money and they want more power. It says that's what it would feel like to watch the SEC conduct its own playoff. It goes on to say besides the SEC's biggest flex in the past 16 years is how much it dominated other conferences. In the playoff era alone, the SEC is 12-3 in those games, excluding all the SEC matchups. The SEC hasn't lost a playoff game to a team outside of the conference since the Alabama-Clemson game in 2018. Goes on to say at the same time, Sankey is wise to float out this possibility. There's a reason this leaked before the SEC meetings in Destin. Sankey quote tweeted Thamel's report himself, saying, for the record, we haven't had an SEC meeting since 2019, which is a long time. So that was a lot of information, but that's a good article. I like the points that they bring up on Saturday Down South in that article, but I'm obviously 100% against it. I think this is a terrible idea. It's about money, power. It's not about what's best for college football and the college football fan. I don't think going backwards, taking a step back to the pre-playoff era of having split national championships, allowing Alabama to claim numerous championships that they never won. I don't think that is the way to go in the future. But that's the video. Hit that comment section. Let me know your thoughts. What do you guys think about an SEC only playoff? Hit that comment section. Give me some feedback on that. Also, go check out the official merchandise of the Talkin VAWLS Network. Go to bonfire.com/store/Talkin VAWLS. Any and all support greatly appreciated. Got the brand new Beat Bama shirts, Beat Georgia, Beat Florida, and then all the old school designs as well. The links to that is in the description below, or you can just type it in, bonfire.com/store/Talkin VAWLS. That's going to do it for this one. Sorry for the late video. Daughter had an 8th grade graduation. Couldn't miss it. Had to be there. But, man, I feel like they graduate from every grade at this point. But that's going to do it for this one. This is the Talkin' VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Go Big Orange.